Ajmal Masroor joins me, Imam and broadcaster. Ajmal, evening to you. What do you make of the backlash against this guidance? I mean, the Shadow Health Secretary, Stuart Andrews, says this is absolutely bonkers and has no place in our NHS. Cousin marriage is not safe and healthcare professionals should never be encouraged to downplay or normalise it. Has he got a point?
Thank you for inviting me. You've asked me a question that I answer almost every day. I don't know whether you know, Ben. I've written 3 books on marriage, so it's a good topic to talk about.
Good to have you with us.
Especially if you're looking for any tips on how to be happily married. We can talk about that outside.
Aren't we all, Ajmal? Aren't we all? I mean, it starts by not marrying your first cousin, doesn't it?
Well, that's what my belief says. I've married a Hungarian, and I don't have any cousins of Hungarian background. I'm Bangladeshi ethnically. I was brought up in this country. There is a very beautiful saying of the Prophet, and that is, marry far and apart, in order to increase our gene pool, in order to make our tribes and people of different cultures come together. That's the purpose of all religion, including Islam. So this practice that some cultures have, I don't want to attribute it to the faith, cultures have, it's a cultural practice. Calling for a ban would be a bit over the top, in my view, Ben, if you don't mind me saying. There are many bad things in our world today. For example, cigarette is very bad for us. We don't ban it yet. Alcohol is not good for you. We don't ban it. Gambling is not good for you. We don't ban it. What we do is we educate people. We try and show them the harm. We try and bring those conversations to the fore. Schools, colleges, universities, name it. Everywhere we're talking about the bad effects of smoking and alcohol, and people are really taking notice. So with this cousin marriage, since it's a cultural practice, and since we're in Britain, many of our cultures are fusing together and becoming one universal culture, somewhat different to the ethnic origins of many of our parents. I think we should educate more. We should talk about it more often, about the harm that it brings and how we can bring harmony and peace together through marriage. Remember, marriage is a purpose. Purpose of marriage is to create a safe space where people can come together and grow and have families, and families which are growing in a healthy and good environment. And if medical science have proven that there are medical risks, then we should really pay heed, really take note of it. So I would say educate, encourage, and try and get people to marry as far wide apart as possible.
Why, Ajmal? I mean, I take your point about education. It's got to be part of it. It's important. I'm not saying it's not. But why is a ban not the answer as well? Because we do know there is a big increased risk of genetic defects. Children are being born with defects and diseases because their parents chose to marry their first cousin. Why is that something that should be legal?
Well, you know what? I think the statistics show differently. What we have seen over the last 20 years, a decline in cousin marriages. In my time, when I was younger, it was very rampant. Now it's very rare. So I think through education, through the programs that we have seen run at our local level, discussions at with our doctors, medical practitioners, and for the Muslim community from many of the mosques, the discussions have helped. And also, the first generation, when they came here, they were, of course, a migrant community. They did not know how else to relate. Now we're seeing lots of cross-cultural marriages. Pakistanis marrying into Arabs, African marrying into Asians. I think it's brilliant. White communities marrying into brown communities. I love the idea of mixed marriages, and it's getting better. So if your argument is banning would make it better, in fact, what we have now, evidence is that with discussions, education, things are getting better.
You're right. You're absolutely right. Of course it is. First cousin marriage is declining and declining quite rapidly. But why not speed that up by just making it illegal and stopping it completely?
Very illiberal of us. We don't ban alcohol and smoking. I think we need to be consistent with our...
We do ban you marrying your siblings. There is a precedent.
Of course. No, but that has been a universal ban forever. We know that.
Why shouldn't this become a ban?
Well, because we can't be equating it to the same level as marrying your own siblings. I'll give you a joke at the back of it. It's funny, but it's something that I often narrate. The benefit of cousin marriage is like this. So there are 2 people who went to a court for their marriage to be annulled. They're cousins. So the marriage is dissolved. The judge says marriage is over. They're leaving. And the wife is crying. The ex-wife is crying her eyes out. The husband leans over, ex-husband leans over and says, "Don't worry. We're not husbands and wives, but we're still cousins." So I know it's a terrible way of...
dark. I mean, yeah, that's dark, Ajmal, because...
But it is dark because it is the darkness in this practice.
But it's not a laughing... I appreciate the joke, but it's not a laughing matter when children are being born with defects because of this cultural practice.
That's precisely my point. That you can't justify something that, even religiously speaking, isn't encouraged.
But if you can't justify it, why not ban it?
Because in our liberal country, we don't ban social practices like that.
We ban people marrying their siblings, which used to be a thing in days of old.
When was that? When did we ban sibling marriage?
I don't know.
Do you remember the date?
Year. I don't know the exact year, but there is a precedent. This was
probably 200-300 years ago.
Yes, exactly. But there is a precedent. That's my point.
I know, but we have moved on 200-300 years later. We've got education, we've got proliferation of internet, we've got so much available which wasn't there before. One of the reasons why I stand by the right for us to educate people rather than ban is because I believe the more you ban, the more you push such practices to underground. Keep it above the ground, discuss it, debate it, win it by logic, win it by compassion. And for me as an imam, I would win it by talking from the pulpit. Get married to people from as far wide as possible, just like I've done, and enjoy the benefit.
I mean, you're making out it's sort of completely dying out, and you're right to say it's in decline. But there's still parts of the country, looking at statistics here, where rates of first cousin marriage in the last decade were 27%. In parts of the community in Bradford, for example. So this is still a very common practice in parts of our country.
As opposed to 60% in the 70s
but we're talking
and
about
80s.
1 in 4, according to this, 1 in 4 people in the Pakistani community in Bradford married their first cousins in the last decade.
Well, I'm going to encourage them not to. I'm not going to advocate banning because I don't think that's going to work. And most importantly, I think we as a people need to come together and help and support. Remember, marriage as an institution is in decline. We should celebrate marriage. We should encourage people to get married.
Yeah, but not to your cousin.
Of course, the more races come together, more people of different background come together, more beautiful our societies become. And that should be the discussion. How can we create marriage that is healthier, marriage that is inclusive, marriage that becomes a great institution for celebration rather than become liabilities?
What do you make, Ajmal, the reason we're talking about this tonight, of the NHS telling midwives that actually the downsides are exaggerated and unwarranted, and actually they need to be talking as well about the potential benefits of marrying your first cousin?
I'd like to see who advised them like that. I'd like to see which medical doctor, which scientist has written that report. I haven't seen it. If it's just opinion, then opinion can be countered. If there is scientific evidence to support what they're suggesting, let's hear it. I haven't heard any. I know from my reading, limited they are, from my theological reading, we should be marrying people of backgrounds that are far away from our own, because we increase our relationship, we bring our humanities together, and we also increase the gene pool. There's a reduction of possibilities of hereditary illnesses. So I think for all reasons, as stated, we should marry as many as far as possible, as far away as possible. And also remember, you get to experience exotic culture. You know, in my house, I have Hungarian food. In my house, I've got Bangladeshi food. I've got British food. It's an amazing mixture. And if you look at my children, I'm very grateful to God for having such a fusion within my family. Most of my siblings are also married cross-culturally. And I'm seeing, actually, Ben, I'm seeing more and more of it. As an imam, I conduct marriages, Islamic marriages, and I conduct, I think 80% of the marriages that I conduct are cross-cultural. So I'm celebrating.
Wow.
I'm not worried.
Would you marry a cousin, Ajmal? If two people came to you, man and woman came to you, said, we want to get married, we want you to conduct the ceremony, we are first cousins, what would you say?
As an imam, I can't discriminate, can I? I can't discriminate. If just anybody can come and ask to get married, and as an imam, I have to say yes, as long as they're adults.
Right. There's no basis for you to sort of to make a conscious objection to that.
Not in Islamic law, nor with our law of the land. So there is none whatsoever. Okay. We can encourage people, we can educate them, we can teach them. But if they've made a choice, if they've fallen in love, there is very little you can do. Love is blinding for some people. If you try and tell them the opposite, they'll go in the different direction than you want them to. In all honesty, I'm actually seeing a decline. I'm actually seeing a proliferation of cross-cultural marriages, and that's what you should be celebrating, Ben.